This week's presidential debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris will now officially go down as the one and only debate between the two candidates, now that Trump has stated there will be no second debate.
Ooh.
And Trump explained this decision in a Truth Social post where he said, "When a prize fighter loses a fight, the first words out of his mouth are, 'I want a rematch.' Polls clearly showed that I won the debate against Comrade Kamala Harris, the Democrats' radical left candidate, on Tuesday night. And she immediately called for a second debate." So,
I mean, it's unclear which polls that he's referencing there, because polls by reputable polling outfits show the exact opposite of what he's claiming. And not only does it look like most people thought Harris won the debate, she also increased her election polling lead. And meanwhile, Trump's Truth Social stock, which has become essentially a roundabout way to gamble on whether Trump will win the election, plunged to a new low in the wake of the debate. It was going to do that anyway. He's getting really close to being able to sell that stuff, and so are the people involved. If you're holding the bag, you deserve it. Even Trump's fellow Republicans, though, in elected office and the media don't think that he won the debate. And the more deranged Trump supporters admit that he lost, but claim it was because Harris was fed the answers beforehand, or that she was wearing Bluetooth earrings on stage, or, I don't know, fuck it, he lost because of witchcraft.
this was clearly witchcraft. It was probably those Haitians doing voodoo, which is real.
That's what Marianne Williamson says.
Voodoo is real, guys.
Or mom just crossed the Rubicon.
Yeah. But for some of the relatively less deranged members of the MAGA movement, the reason that Trump bombed at the debate was that he's been getting really close with Laura Loomer, who was spotted getting off Trump's jet when it landed in Philadelphia for the debate. And we don't have the hours it would take to sift through all the Laura Loomer lore.
We touched on it a bit in the most recent episode, so if you haven't seen that yet.
Suffice to say, it is kind of insane, even by Trump standards, that this person is apparently in his inner circle and influencing his strategy. But just a few quick examples to illustrate. A few years back, a series of blatantly racist, Islamophobic, and conspiratorial social media posts got Laura Loomer banned from Uber, Lyft, PayPal, GoFundMe, Venmo, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And in response to her Twitter ban, she staged a one-woman protest in which she handcuffed herself to Twitter's New York headquarters while wearing a yellow Jewish star.
And then no one cared, and she asked the police to please
cut me out, please.
And look, that's really just scratching the surface, but Laura Loomer is such a nut job that even a lot of other MAGA influencers don't even want to associate with her. And that should say a lot. And she's also run for office multiple times and eaten shit every single time. So yeah, it's understandable that a real-life caricature of the most unhinged MAGA supporter ever, who has proven herself to be electoral poison, is someone a lot of Trump allies maybe don't want hanging around in his orbit in the final months of the campaign. But with more on that, here's Semaphore on Wednesday.
She was on the plane with him the day of the debate and on the ground with him the morning after. Some Republicans are worried she had something to do with what happened in between. Laura Loomer, the right-wing agitator known for egging on Donald Trump's most inflammatory instincts, has been regularly popping up around the former president. After a debate in which Trump shouted about false viral rumors of pet-eating Haitians in an Ohio town, her potential influence is drawing more scrutiny from both parties.
One person close to the Trump campaign said they were 100% concerned about her exacerbating Trump's weaknesses. Regardless of any guardrails the Trump campaign has put on her, I don't think it's working, the person said. Loomer has long been a presence in Trump's orbit, much to the chagrin of some of his allies inside and outside the campaign. Last year, the New York Times reported Trump ordered his staff to give her a formal campaign role, only to drop the idea after fierce pushback from Republicans. Trump lost the debate because of his performance or lack thereof, Dennis Lennox, a Republican consultant, said. That's what happens when you wing it, live in the Fox News X bubble, and rely on Matt Gaetz, let alone Laura Loomer. Even by the standards of the extended MAGA universe in 2024, Loomer has stood out as an extreme figure. She has called herself pro-white nationalism and described America as a white Judeo-Christian ethno-state destroyed by diversity. After Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, a prominent member of the Congressional Black Caucus, died of cancer in July, Loomer posted online that she was a, quote, ghetto bitch and suggested she was, quote, going to hell.
Also, according to Axios, on the plane ride to the debate, Loomer was the one specifically egging on Trump to talk about Haitians eating people's pets on stage. So, yeah, the possibility of her having an influential role in a second Trump administration should be alarming to everyone. But perhaps fortunately, her presence on the campaign trail doesn't seem to be helping Trump's chances all that much. So a lot of Republicans don't want her flying around on that plane with their impressionable, easily influenced God Emperor.
Who is very smart, the smartest president, my president, very smart, and would never fall for anything like this, but please stop talking to him.
My 79-year-old president has fallen in with bad crowd. And he's giving in to peer pressure.
Despite being a genius, keeps listening to the dumbest people on earth and repeating their lies.
I mean, can you blame him? When a beautiful young woman starts telling you things, I mean, he can't help himself. When a gorgeous, attractive,
speaking of witchcraft,
a real foxy lady comes along.
She looks like someone put a curse on her.
Yeah, she is 31 years old and
a little too much Eye of Newt.
Just too much fucking surgery. Like, she got addicted to
early on,
like lip fillers and buccal fat removal, and she got all of it. And the end result is that she looks like 15 to 20 years older than she actually is. So, yeah, great job there. But anyway, this all brings us to the heartwarming news that the worst people you know are fighting. And you might think that Laura Loomer and Marjorie Taylor Greene would get along like peas in a pod, given their shared politics and shared interests in being loud, annoying, unhinged, and racist. But no. Apparently these women fucking hate each other.
And they used to be besties.
I know.
It's you hate to see a friendship crumble like that.
This kicked off the day after the debate when MTG decided to go after Loomer for a 3-day-old tweet where she wrote, "If Kamala Harris wins, the White House will smell like curry and White House speeches will be facilitated via a call center, and the American people will only be able to convey their feedback through a customer satisfaction survey at the end of the call that nobody will understand."
It's shocking how blatant the racism has become. And you know who had a similar quote to this recently? The other worst person you know, Ronald Radke, that weirdo singer who...
Well, luckily Ronnie Radke is someone no one actually knows about unless you're already involved in like the emo hardcore scene and have been following...
Metalcore, first of all.
Okay, whatever, who cares? But the average person doesn't know who he is, and thank goodness, because yeah, he sucks too. Also, he killed a guy.
He was... I don't even want to get into it, but he was like an accessory to it.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, you would think that kind of mask-off racism would be music to MTG's ears. I mean, she's played that song before.
Yeah.
But no, she said, "This is appalling and extremely racist. It does not represent who we are as Republicans or MAGA. This does not represent President Trump. This type of behavior should not be tolerated ever. Laura Loomer should take this down." And she followed that up with a long post explaining that she and Loomer had once been friends, and MTG had supported Loomer in her multiple failed congressional bids and advocated for her Twitter account to be unbanned. But Loomer had turned around and shit-talked and lied about her.
That bitch.
And this really, really seemed to set Laura Loomer off, resulting in a long string of tweets over the next few hours, which adds up to so much text that we cannot read them in full. But these highlights should get the point across.
It's an insane amount of posting. And just in general, like, she posts a lot. Anytime I feel like I have a problem, I'm checking Twitter too much, I just look at any of these like MAGA influencers' feeds and I'm like, all right, I'm actually doing all right. Yeah. That's good. But here you go. "Hey MTG, speaking of racism, one of your former staffers told me you have a favorite word that starts with N. What if the staffer has a video? It's rather ironic that MTG wants to call me a racist when MTG is a full-blown anti-Semite who believes that Jewish people use space lasers to control the world. Along with being an anti-Semite, MTG is also a poor excuse for a Christian. Her marriage failed because she couldn't keep her legs closed while she was a new member of Congress and was too busy screwing some guy from her CrossFit. I exposed you months ago, and I'll do it again, you trailer trash harpy." Wow.
The girls are fighting. Let them fight.
The girls are fighting.
Next up, it's really funny how Marjorie Taylor Greene, a raging anti-Semite who said Jews use space lasers to control the world, wants to pretend like I'm a racist because I made a funny joke about Kamala Harris making cooking videos and buying curry spice at an anti-Trump spice shop, and I mocked how she uses her Indian mom as a way to dodge questions. I won't be apologizing for having a sense of humor. I also believe in free speech, Marjorie, which you clearly don't support. I get it. You're jealous of me because despite your planted hit pieces about me in the New York Times, I won. Get over it.
Wow. "Hey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, remember when you destroyed your family so you could have sex with a Zangief cosplayer? Tell me again how you and the Arby's in your pants are representatives of the GOP. Woo!
I just had the same reaction as that girl who saw Ted Cruz at a college football game, who threw up in her mouth.
The Arby's in your pants, it's so fucking gross.
Foul.
This person is sitting next to Trump on the plane. You couldn't even run your own family. Don't tell me how to run my free speech.
I do want to point out the earlier quote about there being a video of potentially Marjorie Taylor Greene saying the N-word. Like, this,
they probably exist.
Maybe, but that, if the claim is true, they're just holding on to a bunch of compromat, technically,
That's how
on each other, yeah.
Yeah, they're cool with it, but they'll use it when it becomes
when they need
useful.
Next up, MTG is two-faced. She used to call me begging me to write her one-liners so she could read in Congress about Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib. And now she's acting like a lefty, calling me a racist over a funny joke. This is a woman who has no conviction. Like a hooker, she sells herself to the highest bidder. The highest bidder in her case was Speaker McCarthy. Now she's irrelevant and she's lashing out because she is jealous.
MTG is the most miserable, lying bitch in Congress, and we need to inform more MAGA patriots of how treacherous this woman is. Why did she take a month-long vacation right after Trump was shot? And why did she lie about releasing the J6 tapes, only to say we shouldn't for the sake of protecting the security of the Capitol? Why does MTG continue to support and work with Kevin McCarthy, who is openly working to sabotage Donald Trump? Why doesn't she ever speak out about Fani Willis and voter fraud in Georgia? We know why. MTG planted a hit piece against me when I was hired by Trump in March of 2023, only to have that sabotaged when MTG worked with Maggie Haberman to plant a hit piece against me. And now she's doing it again because she wants to sabotage Trump because she wasn't picked as VP.
And by this point, it's Thursday
morning.
morning.
Can you imagine if she was VP? I don't think that was ever in the cards.
Things I could never imagine have happened in the past couple of months. Some good, some bad. And I'm not, there's no more fantasy here. This is dangerous, and we, as American citizens, have to vote against anything.
But I can see, like, there is, an argument does exist for J.D. Vance. Like, he's younger, he...
toes the party line.
He wrote that book that Ron Howard made into a movie. Like, there is the possibility for, cross-cultural appeal for him. Until he starts talking.
Yeah.
But MTG doesn't have any of that. She is one of the most alienating people he could possibly pick as VP. So it is funny that according to Laura Loomer, she was really gunning for that job.
But at this point, like I said, it's Thursday morning and MTG still hasn't responded to the wall of text. So the reporters over on Capitol Hill decided to ask MTG about it directly. So MTG got into character as a sensible, moderate Republican who's just sick of all this divisiveness and hatred.
Guys.
I have concerns about her rhetoric and her hateful tone. To me, many of the comments that she makes and how she attacks Republicans like me, many other Republicans that are strong supporters of President Trump, I think they're a huge problem. And that doesn't represent MAGA as a whole. It doesn't represent who we are as Republicans. And, I typically try to ignore her post, but someone had sent me that post about Kamala Harris, and it bothered me so much. And my personality, everyone knows I'm outspoken, and I just felt like it was time to call it out. I think it's wrong. We're not a party of identity politics. We're a party for all Americans. And I think that's so important. And I think that we need to be focused on our policies, the inflation, the economy, and the border, and not attacking people for their race, not attacking them because they may not have children and they love their pets. And I don't want to have anything to do with that. And neither do the people, my voters at home in my district, and most people I talk to across the country. And so, I called her out last night, and I think it was important to do.
And wow, she almost comes off as normal there. You could almost forget that she herself is guilty of everything that she's accusing Laura Loomer of. Anyway,
we're looking for the guy responsible. Wow.
Not only falling out with Laura Loomer, falling out with Lauren Boebert.
That happened a while ago.
I know, but all of the very deeply MAGA crowd.
These GOP ladies, they all want to be the queen bee.
And eventually, Matt Gaetz' time will come. Because that's not a closed case.
Yeah, I saw something about potentially some stuff getting unsealed, but I'll believe it when I see it.
And then the other character involved in all this, who is just as bad, Stephen Miller, who did get called out by an Argentinian, or he got called out by a news reporter, Venezuelan or Argentinian.
Okay.
Because he was there too. He was part of the crew with Trump.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we love Los Angeles' own Stephen Miller.
Whose own family hates him.
Yeah.
Anyways, as you guessed by now, Laura Loomer was not about to let that bitch get the last word.
While you were busy having sexual affairs, cheating on your husband and getting divorced, and propping up Kevin McCarthy and engaging in insider trading in Congress, I broke many of the stories regarding the weaponized lawfare against President Trump. I traveled to the Darien Gap to expose the invasion firsthand and captured illegal aliens on camera who pledged to vote for Democrats. I took down Ron DeSantis and defended Donald Trump from all of the backstabbers who tried to defeat him in the primary. I have done all of the heavy lifting while you've been writing books and attacking Trump's closest allies in an effort to elevate yourself. You've been telling voters in Georgia that Donald Trump is not going to win the election, and so you think it's best to forge an alliance with Kamala Harris. You haven't done anything to help Trump. You wrote a book and took a month-long vacation, while I have been working 24/7 to support Trump. A lot of things in there. Okay, accusing her of insider trading, which, like, yeah, probably true. I assume they're all up to that to some degree.
Yeah.
But
in the previous thing, mentioning at least rubbing up against the theory that is out there that maybe MTG was in some way involved in some January 6th planning. Not directly referencing it, but getting pretty close. So why would she hide those tapes kind of thing? So a lot of accusations there and a lot of just blatant exposing.
Also saying like, Marjorie Taylor Greene's definitely telling voters that they should form an alliance with Kamala Harris. That's definitely something she would do.
Yeah. So following a post by MTG where she praised the MAGA movement's kind, loving, and welcoming spirit, and said that Laura Loomer's nasty, racist, and divisive rhetoric should not be tolerated.
Who are you kidding?
Loomer hit back with, "You accused Jews of using space lasers to control the world, and you called the former executive director of Black Voices for Trump, Harrison Floyd, the N-word, according to him. You are attacking Donald Trump and his strongest supporters ahead of the election because you are jealous you are not at the debate. Everyone can see through you. You call black men the N-word. Who are you to be accusing anyone of being a racist?" Again, let them fight.
Yeah. These people both can go straight to hell. And
if any of this is true, they've been sitting on stuff.
Yeah, both of these people are terrible. I'm sorry. Neither of you is winning. There's no winners. We are the winners. Because they're directing their energy at each other and not anywhere else.
The one advantage, I guess, if there is any at all, is that Laura Loomer is not an elected official and she puts all of her most vitriolic racism out there openly.
Well, yeah, definitely. She's not electable. She's tried that multiple times. It hasn't worked.
Failed.
But
even Marjorie Taylor Greene was like, she said that she tried to help her get elected.
Yeah.
And it didn't work. And she gave her advice and she didn't follow it.
But there is a possibility she ends up, there's not a lot, if Trump wins, there's not a lot of people left able to fill all those roles because everyone who he's ever hired ends up hating him after like 3 months. Laura Loomer, which cabinet position do you want?
It is
housing
horrifying.
and urban development.
It is horrifying to think that a Trump administration would at the very least consist of Donald Trump, Stephen Miller, Matt Gaetz, Laura Loomer, and just run down the rest of the list. Mike Lee.
Mike Lindell.
Mike Lindell, yeah. Elon Musk.
Secretary of Pillows. Yeah. Director of Government Efficiency.
Doge.
Yeah. It's,
Director of Inseminating Celebrities.
They are giving me new reasons and new senses of urgency every day for how fucked up it'll be.
Look, here's what I'll say.
They're doing a great job scaring the shit out of me.
They are motivating voters.
Yeah.
Not exactly the motivation that they think they're doing, but they are definitely motivating voters.
Like my enthusiasm for Harris is really just baseline level.
Yeah.
My enthusiasm for Trump not being president again is sky high.
Yeah.
And getting higher. So great job. Thank you, everyone. But yeah, as of when we're putting this episode together, the back and forth has continued between these two lovely, beautiful women Though all it's just rehashing the same shit that you just heard.
Yeah.
They're same talking points back and forth. Two of Donald Trump's most prominent and most unhinged loyal supporters absolutely cannot stand each other and are duking it out for all the world to see. And we think that's beautiful.
I know.
Especially this close to the election.
Especially when early voting starts, like in a week.
Yeah.
So keep it up right now. Is a great time to A, attack Taylor Swift fans, B, attack each other publicly on the timeline, and C, keep nosediving in public events. Because he has not stopped referencing all the things that people found detestable during the debate in his follow-up rallies.
Well, because the fans love it.
Woo!
He's doing it. This one's for the fans. A lot of people didn't like this, but this one's for the fans.
He does play the greatest hits, and now he has some new hit songs that he can play for his base. And, those hit songs are...
Some new hit songs for his base. Bow, 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 bow. Haitians are eating dogs and cats.
It's... Keep up the great work. Doing a great job.
And Laura Loomer, who, again, she's online more than I could ever be. Mm-hmm. She even took a quick break from dragging MTG to drag another loyal Trump foot soldier, Senator Lindsey Graham, for having the audacity to publicly admit that Trump lost the debate. She tweeted, Lindsey Graham has never been loyal to President Trump. He got booed in his own state at a Trump rally and was booed off stage because he is disloyal to Trump and the American people. He probably shouldn't be giving out advice to Donald Trump. In the words of President Trump, Senator Lindsey Graham is doing a great disservice to the Republican Party and to our country. P.S. When is Lindsey coming out of the closet? We all know you're gay, Lindsey, and that's okay. It's okay. It's 2024. There's nothing wrong with gay people. I like men too. You and I have something in common that we can bond over. Just be honest about it. Nobody's going to judge you for being open about who you are.
Saying a lot of stuff that a lot of people agree that they know about.
Oh, that's 100% true. It's just wild. Again, like, she's going around accusing all these people of being disloyal to President Trump and being more vicious towards her fellow Republicans than liberals are towards them.
This is
crazy.
The consequences of the entire Republican Party's own actions and who they decided to support in down ballot elections and the people that they associate with.
Who would have thought assembling a coalition of the just nastiest, most selfish people on the fucking planet would result in chaos and disarray like this?
Truly beautiful to see. So yes, that person is also currently flying around with Trump while he campaigns and also accompanied him to the 9/11 memorial, which was interesting considering her own stated view that 9/11 was an inside job.
But enough about MTG and Laura Loomer. Mm-hmm. We simply must move on to a different feud between two different MAGA weirdos.
Cool.
Yep. Sorry. This will be quicker, we promise. But Nick Fuentes and Milo Yiannopoulos have beef, apparently. At one point, these two freaks were working together for Kanye West, signing on to his 2024 presidential campaign. Right around the time that Kanye was in his full-blown Nazi era, they said, that's the wagon I'm hitching to. But things apparently went sour between them at some point since then, and we're not even going to bother looking into exactly why that is, because the following is even funnier, just free of any context.
So last weekend, Milo tweeted, I am publicly challenging Nick Fuentes to a baby-off.
Whoa, what?
With an image attached of a document addressed to Fuentes, which read, to whom it may concern, I am publicly challenging Nicholas J. Fuentes to a baby-off. I say I will have more natural-born offspring by the second quarter of 2027. Here are my conditions. No Dave Rubin-style pay-to-play. You cannot rape.
Jesus.
You must succeed in courting a woman and persuading her to breed with you. Children must be conceived naturally, as a product of ordinary intercourse, and not in vitro fertilization or other artificial methods loathsome to God. In the event of a tie, marriage to the mother shall be the determining factor. The loser shall pay the winner $250,000 and tweet the following. I accept that my adversary, name, is a superior man to me in every way. Sick, depraved, weirdo shit.
Not beating the allegations. Yeah, real freak show shit.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick Fuentes, again, he had a nice dinner with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago.
Aren't both of them gay?
I mean, well, Milo was gay, but he met Jesus, and now straight. And Nick Fuentes, well, it's never been fully confirmed, but Yes.
I just thought that was out. I don't know. Yeah.
Anyway, looking at more recent posts, Milo has apparently hired a process server to personally deliver the document to Nick and to also leave copies of it on every windshield in his neighborhood. Again, we don't know what the hell this is about, but it's always great when the worst people you know are fighting. And it's especially amusing when it is two gay dudes arguing over who's more straight.
That's what I thought. I'm sorry. No offense.
I mean, Milo is definitely gay.
Yeah.
Milo, he famously pivoted to Christianity and voluntarily did conversion therapy to make himself stop being gay, which isn't a thing you can do.
Uh-huh.
Nick Fuentes is an incel virgin who has been caught multiple times on stream looking at gay porn.
Okay, that's where I got it from, I guess. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, these are two men living lives of misery in a hateful prison of their own design. And we look forward to the day that the MAGA movement, and by extension, all the weirdos like this, are something we don't have to care about anymore.
I do want to say, if they are both straight, which they, I guess,
they're not
pretend to be, not that I didn't assume this already, but it really shows you what they think of women.
Yeah, they're breeding vessels.
They're vessels and nothing else.
Yeah, and
it's a terrible,
and your value as a man is tied to how much you can get that breeding vessel pregnant.
It's a horrible way to live your life.
But yeah, we'd love to. I want a day to come where I don't have to think about these people. But unfortunately, for now, at least, people like Nick Fuentes, Milo Yiannopoulos, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Laura Loomer represent a very real problem that demands our attention. Yeah. And this week over in Springfield, Ohio, we got yet another example of the real-world impact of all this MAGA lunacy. Here is the local newspaper, the Springfield News-Sun.
Several city, county, and school buildings around Springfield were closed Thursday because of a bomb threat to, quote, multiple facilities throughout Springfield, according to a city statement released Thursday morning. Springfield City Hall was evacuated around 8:30 a.m. Springfield Police Chief Allison Elliott said at a Thursday afternoon press conference that City Hall, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, the Springfield Driver's Exam Station, Ohio License Bureau on the south side, Springfield Academy of Excellence, and Fulton Elementary School were all named in the threat and were cleared using explosive detecting canines. Yeah, so all the discourse about whether Springfield is being overrun with dog and cat-eating Haitians from online commentators, right-wing pundits, and even the former president of the United States, all while the local authorities have insisted that these claims have no basis in reality, has resulted in the most predictable outcome possible. Nut jobs sending in bomb threats, resulting in basically every public building in the city getting evacuated. So great job, assholes.
Yeah, it's the old libs of TikTok move.
Yeah. Who was very upset to see The Onion do a very nasty joke during the debate.
What joke?
I actually don't want to repeat it because I love The Onion for it, but I don't want to say it on our YouTube video that needs to stay monetized.
All right. Yeah. I'll have to check Tim Onion's feed.
That's right.
Anyways, we've got the headlines half of the show coming right up. But first, a word from this week's sponsor, Factor. Cooler, milder days are finally coming. Fuel up for fall with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your wellness goals in this final stretch of the year thanks to their menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes, so no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. Make today the day you kickstart a new healthy routine. What are you waiting for?
With 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from every week, you'll always have new flavors to explore. Crush your wellness goals with dietitian-approved meals and ingredients that you can trust. Make your day delicious. From breakfast to dessert, stay fueled with easy, nutritious options. Treat yourself to restaurant-quality meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, and blackened salmon. Keep kitchen time to a minimum. Factor meals are ready in 2 minutes. No shopping, prepping, cooking, or cleaning up. And their smoothies are fantastic. Send you a bag of them, and you got one for every day to take on the go.
Very smooth. Mm-hmm. Enjoy effortless support for your lifestyle. Choose from 6 menu preferences to help you manage calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, or simply eat well-balanced. Head to factormeals.com/weeklyweird50 and use code weeklyweird50 to get 50% off your first box, plus 20% off your next month. Mm-hmm. That's code weeklyweird50 at factormeals.com/weeklyweird50 to get 50% off your first box, plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active.
All right, now into the craziest, weirdest, strangest, and in at least one case, an uplifting headline this week. Not starting with that one though. This one's just kind of silly. From around the world this week, here you go, starting with
Shannon Sharp apologizes for viral Instagram live sex broadcast.
It is not going unnoticed by at least me that all the funniest sex shit seems to happen on 9/11.
Yeah, this was the morning of 9/11. It could have been exactly at the anniversary of the moment that the towers fell or were struck.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, Hall of Fame NFL player and ESPN commentator Shannon Sharp, his Instagram account went live, and you couldn't see anything, which is a minor miracle in itself. This would be so much worse if the camera was actually facing anything, but you could very clearly hear himself and a woman who sounded like she was really enjoying herself.
That's what at first I believe
he's like, I was hacked, and it's like, buddy, it's 2024. You can't play the I was hacked card.
Also, like, hey, take credit for it, buddy.
Yeah, he did eventually. He's like, yeah, it was me. I was laying pipe.
There's also a clip.
She was loving it.
There's also a clip where he, on his podcast, goes, and it just had to happen on that day of all days. And his guest goes, wait, what day? But yes, it is.
Was it his guest or was it his co-host, Chad Ochocinco?
I can't remember. I was listening to the audio of it on something else. But it's just, it happens once with Ted Cruz. You're like, okay.
But that's looking at porn.
Yeah.
That has like connotations of being a greasy little, like you're alone, you're stroking
yourself. Shannon Sharp was doing work.
Shannon Sharp was engaged in sexual intercourse with a live human woman who
seemed to be enjoying
was
herself.
Giving high marks to his performance.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it was just the audio and there was no... he wasn't putting non-consensual porn on the internet, that makes it a lot less of a problem. It's something that it's shocking, but you can still laugh it off.
Good for ESPN for being like, no, we're not going to punish it. It was an accident, and he's doing a normal human thing.
Yeah, he's pissed. He's like, I've never even done an Instagram live. Like, I just like threw my phone down, and apparently it started Instagram. That's kind of terrifying.
It is. Yeah. Make sure your phones are.
Yeah.
Not open, folks.
Yeah, learn from Shannon Sharp.
Yeah, don't get any water on that screen, too. It starts pressing buttons for you and everything.
It really does.
Yeah.
But in other celebrity news.
And this is an actually heartwarming story.
Yeah.
John Bon Jovi convinces woman not to jump off bridge in Nashville. And there is video footage, and he does the right thing.
He approaches very slowly, and he's just like, hey, what's up?
Rubs.
And she's just like, wait, are you fucking... Am I already dead? Is that John Bon Jovi of Bon Jovi? But yeah, no, he approached very gently.
And the person he was with also seemed very calm.
Yeah,
and
they were talking to the woman, and it resolved itself. Heartwarming story, and had to be the most surreal way to almost kill yourself is be rescued by a famous 80s rocker.
And this wouldn't have happened if it weren't for beautiful pedestrian bridges.
That's right.
Because if this was a normal bridge, nobody's going to stop the car.
But you know who was really mad about this? The one person that was mad about this was the guy from Third Eye Blind.
Yeah?
Should have been me.
Yeah.
Because he had that song.
Yeah.
I wish you would step down from that ledge, my friend. Should have been me. Bon Jovi doesn't have any songs about suicide.
That we know.
What about me?
I haven't looked into his lyrics recently.
I don't either.
Oh, wait. I'm thinking
they got that one that's like, boom, 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 boom.
You're doing a wonderful job.
It's my life.
And it's now or never. I'm not gonna live forever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's no audio in the video. Maybe he started singing at her. We don't know if he was talking or singing.
I do want to say it is actually a very heartwarming piece of video because everyone comes over and helps with the situation. Yeah. It is, you see so much negativity and bad things happening on camera, and it is refreshing to see this.
Yeah.
And especially that John Bon Jovi was in it.
It's some good news. I hope John Krasinski puts this in his weekly Some Good News show that he sold to NBC for
There's a guy who lived long enough to become the villain. All of Canada hates him.
Why?
Because he crossed a picket line to be in a commercial for a Canadian company when they were on strike.
Yikes. Office Jim, what are you doing?
Also, he sold that show. They never did anything with it. So he just grabbed the money and left.
He pocketed the money. I mean, that's kind of cool. I can't fault him for that. They offered him the check. He's like, COVID's going to end at some point. And also, I'm not signing on to actually host the show. You can just do whatever. Give me the money.
John Krasinski, we have a wonderful media company called Tenet Media, based out of Nashville. You might have heard of it. We want to license some good news, but can you talk about how it's good that Russia is invading Ukraine?
Talk about how Crimea has never been safer, never been better. Guy Fieri was mistaken for a bartender and told to get back to work while hanging out at Sylvester Stallone's house. It wasn't Stallone being like, "Who the fuck are you? Go make me a drink, asshole."
Yeah.
He's friends with Stallone, which is really funny to picture.
Yeah.
He was like, and he sounds like he's a good friend because like Stallone's like, hey, Guy, you should come to my party. And Guy's like, hey, can I cook?
Cool.
He offered to cook, but he got there and then one of Stallone's like servants or whatever was like, what are you doing back here? Get back to work. These bartenders with their spiky hair and their bleached mustaches.
And their flaming t-shirts. Gosh.
I don't know how you mistake Guy Fieri for anything other than a superstar.
Yeah.
And the mayor of Flavortown.
That's right. Well, that person is not allowed in Flavortown anymore.
He also, in the same interview, he's just like, I hung out with Stallone at his house a bunch, and like he's got a lot of famous friends. Like I've met like a whole bunch of people, Arnold, whatnot. But the only one that like really starstruck me was Al Pacino, which I'm like, so the other ones, whatever. Al Pacino, he gets all fanboyed up, but like,
Guy Fieri,
Arnold, who cares?
By the numbers, Guy Fieri gets more screen time than any of those people. It is much like MTV is just a ridiculousness channel. The Food Network is nothing but diners, drive-ins, and dives, and Guy's grocery games.
Well, between those two shows, there's probably like 1,000 episodes at this point.
I'm not faulting him for it. I watch it all the time.
Yeah.
It's one of the only shows that I can rewatch multiple times because it is literally just brainless TV, and food looks good all the time.
Yeah, and he visits some good spots.
And also, to point out, he seems like a generally really good dude who donates his time and money to charity and also makes sure he goes back to these businesses and calls them and makes sure that they're still doing okay.
Yeah. He seems all right.
He does. Seems like a pretty good guy.
But
and don't get in the comments and ruin it for me. He seems nice.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure he's a celebrity, so. But
to whom it may concern, I have consumed a delicious burger outside of my own restaurant. I will be taking this time to try to rebuild the faith I have in my customers. Game developer adds Governor Tim Walz as playable character in Crazy Taxi.
This is so cool. There's video of it too. Because Tim Walz, I don't know if we talked about this, but Tim Walz...
He was addicted to Dreamcast.
Yeah, well, like, he himself hasn't verified this, but, like, when he was a high school teacher back in the early 2000s, he had a Dreamcast, and he would let some of his favorite students come after school and play it, and he eventually, like, sold it to one of his former students when they went off to college, and they said, like, when they opened it, the Crazy Taxi disc was, like, still inside, and there was other people, I think IGN or someone did, like, a deep dive in this, but there was, like, other students who were like, yeah, he really liked Crazy Taxi. So anyway, all these years later, someone has figured out how to mod like a Dreamcast emulation of Crazy Taxi to have Tim Walz and Kamala Harris in it with custom like audio lines as well that play while they're driving around. And I think he modified the map to replace some of the locations with like iconic Minneapolis locations.
Yeah.
And he added a stop where you pick up people and drive them to the local polling place.
Oh, they should put a bunch of Prince songs in it.
Yeah. I don't know why
Going
not?
off the last headline, though, if they do remake Crazy Taxi, they
are.
Put Guy Fieri in it.
They are remaking it. It's coming out like next year.
I heard they were doing a Simpsons Hit and Run remake, too. Which, I mean, they're the same games.
That. But Crazy Taxi actually is coming out. It's going to be like an open world. I don't know, like it sounds almost too ambitious, but we'll see. I'm excited. That game rules.
Yeah, it does. They don't really have to do much to make it great.
They don't. Jogger left bloodied, dazed, and crying after getting mauled by a gang of otters.
The photos are horrific.
Yeah,
and the photo of the gang of otters.
It's like a dozen otters. Like
I don't like it.
No,
I would run.
They're a scary animal. We've covered
You'd assume that they would be running too.
We've covered many otter incidents over the years. They are vicious, vindictive, hateful creatures.
Yeah.
You think of them, they're like, oh, they're just chilling on their back, giving their belly a rub. No, they're fucking demons. And they will attack, and
They're
they
like
will hurt
huge
you.
rats with sharp teeth.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty much what they are. And this was in Malaysia, I think. And it was like sort of the edge of the city, a big park, natural green space where a lot of otters live. And apparently the people there, for years, they've been like, oh, it's so fun to feed the otters crust of bread or whatever. So these otters have just no fucking fear of humans. And they saw this lady running. She probably had her plugs in her ears, so she didn't hear the tap, tap, tap of a dozen otters coming. And they fucked her up. She's like covered in
really
blood.
bad, yeah.
Otters, not even once.
Schools are putting vape detectors in bathrooms, paid for by Juul. As part of our settlement with the U.S. government.
That's literally it. It is, the timing of this is very funny though, because even the article admits, they're like, yeah, teen vaping has actually gone down.
The Zins now.
Yeah, it's because they moved on to Zins. And this is only going to accelerate that. Can't vape in the bathroom anymore, so.
I would bet dollars to donuts that any high school, like all the urinals have to have Zin packets in them. Because you see that at like sports stadiums and stuff like that. It's disgusting. Gross. But I'd imagine that that's how schools are now too.
It's better. A Zin packet in a toilet is still preferable to someone just spitting out their fucking dipwad into the toilet.
True. I know that there was like drugs and stuff and smoking going on at my high school, but I feel like millennials in general, we had come out of like the tobacco companies had been ruled against multiple times. The Truth campaign had started up. The Dare campaign was there. I don't remember smelling cigarette smoke or anything like that in the bathroom.
Yeah, no one smoked at school, but we definitely, it was my high school baseball team. All the players did fucking dip.
Yeah.
And they would spit it out in like the fucking drinking fountains, and it was disgusting.
Yeah. Jumping off of that, it actually is kind of a bummer because as the statistics have shown, we almost did away with nicotine. Yeah. We were this close as a society to not having an issue with smokers or nicotine or whatever.
They just made it so easy.
Yeah. And then vaping came and that was it.
Yeah.
And now it's Zins. And soon people are going to be like, no, I like it the natural way and go right back to smoking.
Oh, no, that's already a thing. Like, we've come full circle where it's like, it's cool and hip and like interesting to smoke cigarettes.
Yeah. They're like, oh, it's plant matter. How could it be worse than Zins and...
Don't do it. Don't do any of this shit.
Don't start.
If you're young enough that this is affecting you, don't. Just say no. God, I sound like a fucking asshole.
I hate to sound this old and this boring and lame, but just say no.
It's not worth it.
No.
Navy officer demoted for secretly installing Starlink on warship to check social media.
Like the
conservatives like to say like, oh, our they them military, our gay military, that's why we're failing is because but no, it's just this. It's like millennials and Gen Z and Gen Alpha are not cut out to be.
They don't understand the implications.
They're not cut out to be warriors. They're into dumb shit, and it's just they're hooked up to their phones. You can't put them in the middle of the ocean, cut off from the world for weeks on end.
It's also they don't understand the implications of the technology that is second nature to them because this has been a problem with every connected device, smart speakers, Fitbits, Apple Watches, anything that can connect to anything is exploitable for its locations. Not even exploitable. It's in most cases publishing it publicly.
Yeah, every like notable example of like intel breaches in the U.S. military for the past several years have either been accidental or like through just like neglect or just people being fucking idiots and like trying to impress other random people online.
Yeah, the biggest, at least the most notable scandal was that people just had their Fitbits hooked up. And all of that is public information.
You just look at the Fitbit map and you're like, okay, well, that's definitely the border of a secret base in the middle of nowhere. So cool.
Yeah. Candles filled with urine spill on 9-year-old at Indiana Dollar Tree. It's a lot of words that I never thought I'd see together.
Yeah, it sounds like someone is going into this Dollar Tree because the owners are like, yeah, no, we are aware. Someone has been regularly going into this Dollar Tree and filling up these candle, like, so it's a glass, cup with the candle inside it, filling them up with a little bit of urine so that when someone picks it up and tilts it back to give it a sniff, pee pours out.
I've almost puked twice this episode.
They say it's every day they're finding piss candles at the...
it's every day, bro.
At the Dollar Tree. So this is someone's fetish. Someone's getting off on this. So yeah. when you smell a candle, maybe keep your distance. Do not tilt. Do not tilt. Just say no.
2/3 of American millionaires don't consider themselves wealthy, survey says.
All poor people in this country are temporarily embarrassed millionaires, and all millionaires in this country are actually firmly middle class. I do have to say, though, like, this does factor in net worth, and a lot of people who are like in their 60s or 70s, they've paid off their house. Their house might be worth like $1 million, but that doesn't mean that they have $1 million. If the worst case scenario, they could reverse mortgage it and they'd have money for the rest of their life. But it is a lot of people who are technically worth $1 million aren't living millionaire lifestyles.
And they're probably going to lose all of that when they have to eventually get put in assisted living homes because everyone's living till fucking 90 and are not working past 65 or 70 traditionally. I mean, a lot of people are working past that, my parents included. But it's just, it's hard to feel bad, but because they could just downgrade to like a condo or something.
Yeah.
And then it'd be fine. Because that's the thing is there's a lot of the, at least housing crisis when it's talking about single family homes or whatever, are elderly people who refuse to leave their gigantic homes that are completely empty because they're empty nesters. When they could, look, I guess I get it, but like for just downgrade to a condo so that someone can raise a family in that home that you are not using 1,500 square feet of.
Move to the villages.
Yeah, you get a whole community there.
Yeah, a whole community.
And a bunch of freaks who show up in vans.
All horny.
Yeah.
But I think this is a very particularly American thing though, where everyone thinks they're middle class.
Yeah.
Poor people think they're middle class. Rich people think they're middle class. It's only people who are tens, hundreds of millions of dollars who consider themselves rich. And there's probably even a few of those who are like, I'm just one bad day away from losing this all.
There's one guy right now who's currently suing Jeff Bezos because he had his house in the market for $75 million. And Jeff Bezos negotiated down a certain amount of money, and then he found out that it was Jeff Bezos. He's like, no, actually, I want that money back. I wouldn't have given him a deal if I knew
I guess I'd be annoyed too, but like, who fucking cares?
You're selling a $75 million house.
Shut up.
Yeah. Do not store guns in your oven. Loaded gun stored in oven fires multiple rounds after getting overheated.
Yeah, I mean, you get a new gun. It's sort of like when you get a new barbecue. It's got all the factory oils and whatnot on it. You gotta burn those off.
Yeah.
So you get the new gun, you put it in the oven, not too high, 350. And
the perfect level for a child to find it who's just snooping around the house.
I guess this gun fired off 5 separate rounds because that's the beauty of modern guns. It's like
so many rounds.
When it discharges around, it loads the next one in there, all mechanically. It's amazing. The technology, the guns, they practically shoot themselves, and with an oven, they do shoot themselves.
Guns should be legal, but you should only be. It should be how it was in like the 17 or 1800s, where you have to cast your own bullets and then load them into the gun and shoot.
The really hardcore guys, that's what they do.
Yeah.
They got their own reloading stations at home. That's kind of cool. I'm sure it's very relaxing. Leave me alone.
It's more lethal because it's lead.
That's true.
If the bullet doesn't kill,
we don't make lead bullets anymore, folks.
if the
we were a better country when our bullets were lead.
Impact doesn't kill them, the lead will eventually.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And lead, very soft.
Yeah. Then you pull it out and break it down again and do another new bullet.
Yeah. I'll be taking that. Thank you.
Yoink. Anyways, that's it for this week's episode of Weekly Weird News. We'll be back next week, but in the meantime, we have a lot of bizarre coverage from this week. If you're not already caught up, please.
Yeah, it's all stuff we already talked about. The debate, the Springfield, Ohio nonsense.
Yeah, check it out if you haven't seen it already.
This election needs to happen.
And we have the VP debate to look forward to.
I'm at the end of my rope.
My brain is cooked after this week, especially because we had a heat wave leading into it. But check out those videos, please. And another please like the video. Press the like button right now. It takes 2 seconds, and it really is the most substantial way that you can help out our channel. If you'd like to leave a comment, that'd be great. Get a conversation going down there. And make sure you're subscribed. Click the join button if you want to. There's a whole lot of buttons you can check out. Why don't you click them all? Anyways, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.